If you're only looking at turnkey homes in Ottawa right now, you're missing honestly the best buys on the market. There are a lot of homes for sale in Ottawa right now. Inventory is relatively high. And if you're filtering by basically what looks good in the photos, you might be filtering out some really good opportunities that are on the market. So today I want to walk you through 8 specific types of homes that offer real long-term value, and why I think a lot of people out there are missing them and walking right by them. Before we get into that, hit the like and subscribe button. It's free, it only takes 2 seconds, and it helps other people find videos just like this. My name is Jimmy. I'm a real estate agent here in Ottawa. There's a link in the description to book a call, whether you're looking to buy, sell, or just sort of chat about what's going on in the market. All right, now let's get into it. The first one is the well-maintained home. So I want you to picture something specific, a home that had an owner for, let's say, 30 or 40 years. It was an older couple, the kind of people who had the furnace serviced every single year without fail, who called someone the moment a roof shingle looked lifted or had blown away, who never let a small plumbing issue sit because it was just not how they operated. There's a generation of homeowners out there who have real pride of ownership, and it shows in the bones of the house, even when it doesn't show everywhere else. Now, when you walk into a type of home like that, it is not going to look like something off a renovation show. The kitchen, it will be dated. The bathrooms, they haven't been touched up in quite some time, maybe even decades. There's probably old styled wallpaper up still. There's definitely carpet. The listing photos are going to reflect all of those types of situations. But which means a lot of buyers are scrolling right past this type of home before they even step inside. That's exactly where I really think this opportunity lies in this type of house, is because here's what these photos don't show, is that the roof might have been replaced 5 years ago, the electrical panel that's been updated and brought up to code, the plumbing that is never going to give anyone a problem because the old owners have maintained it and changed it as needed. The furnace that has been running perfectly and has been updated to a newer model. These issues that when we look at, we want other homeowners to see and to change. I call these sort of the big 6 items of a home. And the big 6 items are this. They're the foundation, electrical, plumbing, HVAC systems, the windows, and the roof. Those are the really expensive red flag problems that you want to get familiar with when you're in your process of buying, or even as you're maybe selling your house. And in this type of well-maintained home, someone else has already taken care of all of them. And I see this a lot when I'm walking through homes with buyers. We'll be in a house that looks completely unremarkable. It's dated, maybe a little bit tired. It's nothing exciting. And then we pull up the inspection report that the seller has wanted to provide us prior to even us putting an offer in. And everything is clean. The roof has been done recently. The electrical has been updated. There are no plumbing issues. The furnace is in great shape. And the buyers who are ready to walk out in the first, let's say, 5 minutes of their viewing start to look at this house differently. What you're left with after all of that is simply cosmetics. And cosmetics you can do on your own timeline. You're not rushing to, let's say, replace a failing roof 6 months after you move in. You're not dealing with a surprise electrical issue that could cost you tens of thousands of dollars. You get to move in, you live there, and you update things as you go. Whether it's a kitchen when you're ready, maybe the bathrooms need to be updated or refreshed, maybe it's putting some new flooring in. You at least get to control the pace and the budget. So when you're walking through a home like this, we try to look past just the decor and the style. We start asking about the age of roof, the furnace, the windows, the age of the electrical panel, what type of wiring is it? Let the inspection tell you what the photos really couldn't. Because if the big 6 items are solid, well, everything else is relatively just paint and flooring in a way. And those are solvable problems, ones that you want to lean into and find a home like this. So the second type of house that I'm talking about is a bungalow. And I want to be sort of specific about this one because it is a unique type of property right now. Bungalow pricing in Ottawa has consistently outpaced other single family home types across the city. And it's not occasionally, but this has been a consistent trend for the past 5 or 10 years. And the reason is relatively simple once you get an idea of why it is. So we have an enormous demographic of baby boomers who are at a stage of life where simply they are done dealing with stairs. They don't want to manage like a 2-story home anymore. They don't want to have their bedrooms on the upper level, but they also don't want a condo yet. They aren't ready for the building lifestyle. They still want a yard, they still want a space, they still want to have a barbecue, and they still want to be in the same neighborhood that hopefully they've lived for the past 30, 40 years. And the only thing that checks all of those boxes off is downsizing to a bungalow. But here's the problem. Supply just isn't there yet. Within the Greenbelt, established core neighborhoods, bungalows are relatively hard to find. New construction, they don't build them very much because builders want to maximize the square footage vertically and on the lot. So they usually build up and not down. Same thing with infills. A lot of times when people put in infills, they aren't building bungalows in the neighborhoods that typically don't have them. They want to maximize their value, maximize their land, and maximize their square footage. So bungalows overall, it's just a hard product to find. So overall, the existing bungalow stock, well, it's relatively fixed. And yet the demographic wanting them is growing. And the gap is basically widening every year. What that means practically is that when a bungalow comes up in a desirable Ottawa neighborhood, people wait for those listings. I've had clients who watch a specific street for a year waiting for a bungalow to become available. And when it did, there was honestly real competition for it. When you go to sell a bungalow in the right location, in the right neighborhood, you will have a buyer relatively quickly. And that's not something you can say about every property type right now, given where the market is. So if you're in the market and a bungalow comes up in the neighborhood you want to be in, that's something you have to move on relatively quickly, or someone else might get it for you. The third type of home is one that's been sitting on the market. So this is one that I think buyers really do overlook. Let's say a house that's been sitting on the market for 60 plus days, maybe it's had a price reduction or two, maybe it's even come back on the market after a failed conditional sale. What a lot of buyers see is that they immediately start building the story in their head of what something must be wrong with it. Why did other people not want this? And I'm not going to be the person who looks like a fool who ends up with this house that obviously other people didn't want. And this is a pretty common theme that we see when people are out buying homes. Most of the time, it is just a story in their mind and it actually isn't correct. So a lot of the time that a home sits on the market is because the asking price really never made sense relative to what the market was actually saying. And that's it. It's nothing to do with the house. It's literally just the marketing strategy that the seller and the agent chose wasn't correct at the time. The seller came in too high and the market pushed back, and now they've been sitting on the market for 2-3 months watching everyone around them sell as they are still trying to get viewings and offers. That is not a structural problem, or it doesn't mean it's a hidden issue, but what it does give you is it does give you a motivated seller. And a motivated seller is exactly where the negotiating can actually happen when you're trying to buy a house. That's where you come in at a number that reflects what the market is doing today. Because they've been sitting there watching it not sell, they might finally actually be open to a conversation that they haven't been having 60 days ago. So price reductions and more flexibility in negotiations. Maybe the closing date is more flexible for you compared to them. Maybe the conditions that you offer, you can put in more things that allow it to give you more time to manage that instead of having to be rushed. None of that happens with a hot listing when there's multiple offers. Now, if it has come back from a failed sale, let's say, because issues came up in the inspection, well, but here are some of the things that you want to keep in mind. By the time that home comes back on the market, the seller most likely then knows what those issues are. So finding out what they are, you get to do your own inspection, do your own due diligence, you get quotes on everything, and then you actually have more leverage to negotiate those costs directly into the offer. Because the seller is going to give you the term and saying, this is maybe what happened before, here are the quotes that we have, this is what we're willing to pay moving forward. And you can start from that point. You can ask them to fix it. You can ask them to reduce the price that reflects the cost of the work now that you have a direct example of what it's going to be. You have options that simply didn't exist in a clean deal where the home just came on the market. Don't avoid the home that's been sitting just because it's sitting on the market. Find out why this is actually the case. And the answer to that question is either probably an opportunity that you can jump on, or honestly, it's going to be a reason for you to walk away. And you won't know which one it is until you actually take a look at this place. The fourth type of house is a fixer-upper with the right problems. And I want to be specific about this one because this is one that can go wrong when buyers don't understand the difference. So the right problems, I think, look like this. We're talking maybe curb appeal that turns people off before they even get out of the car. Maybe the carpet hasn't been replaced in 40 years. Maybe there's wallpaper in every single room that you'll have to take down. Maybe it's a kitchen that looks like it was renovated last time the Leafs won a Stanley Cup. Buyers have a hard time seeing past cosmetic issues, and that gap between what a house looks like and what it actually is, that's really where an opportunity can live. One thing I see fairly often in older homes is original hardwood flooring that has been completely covered for decades by carpet. The owners carpeted over it years ago and nobody really looked at the wood since. So you pull the carpet up and underneath is beautiful old hardwood that just needs to be refinished. The good bones were there the entire time. They were just hidden. And that's honestly the right kind of problem that you want to lean into. Because here's what a fixer-upper with the right problems actually gives you. If the home is sitting below the neighborhood ceiling because of cosmetics, you're getting into a location you might not have been able to afford otherwise. And if the appreciation you create through your own renovations is controlled entirely by you, well, you then get to decide what goes in and when. Let's say it's a kitchen remodel or refresh. Maybe you update the bathrooms or you finish a basement. Those are manageable projects that add real measurable value over time. You're not spending hundreds of thousands of dollars all at once to make sure it's move-in ready. You get to do it in phases and you get to build your equity as you go. But what I see is buyers confuse cosmetic problems with structural ones. Maybe they see a dated kitchen, that's cosmetic. Maybe there's peeling paint, that's cosmetic. Maybe the carpet is needing to be replaced, well, again, that's cosmetic. But things like a foundation issue, well, that's not. A layout that requires structural walls to come down and beams to be put in to hold the roof up, well, that is not. Anything that requires a major investment just to make the home functional, that's not the problem you probably want to be looking at. And unfortunately, wrong problems eat up every bit of upside you thought you were getting with this type of fixer-upper home. Always go back to the 6 big things I talk about before you fall in love with the fixer-upper. Those big 6 ticket items are solid and the issues are mainly cosmetic, well, then you're looking at a potential good opportunity. But if the big 6 have problems, or there's a few of them in there that are starting to stack up, well, maybe that means you walk away from this house. So that's part 1. Part 2 is going to be coming out on Thursday. And the topics we're going to go over is finding the worst house on the best street. Homes that have no rear neighbors are not always the same as others. Prime and established neighborhoods in the city of Ottawa. And homes in up-and-coming neighborhoods if there are any left. So hope you like this video and we'll see you on Thursday.